Hello everyone, welcome to the Crypto Insider channel. This is my inaugural video, so it's very exciting. I've done other videos before on different topics, but this is my first sort of foray into the cryptocurrency market. Um, a little bit about me, I've been working in the banking sector and the information technology sector for the past, oh God, 15, 20 years maybe. And my experience is largely with very large FIs. Uh, all the names you're hearing in the news, partnering with Ripple, partnering or using ODL, considering using ODL. I don't particularly work in the payment space. I've had some interactions with, Swift, but that's been years. As with any company, when you get a job, your roles sort of change over the years. But the company I work for is a humongous monster in the high tech information technology, especially as it pertains to banking world. We're always on the fintech somewhere. um, Want to talk a little bit about XRP, some of the stuff going on today. We, I see a lot of concern over the price, and if you look um, on the screen right now, we're at a low, and the price has been kind of stagnant over the past week, ranging in that 20 to 22 cent range. If we look at it right now, let me look at it right now. We're at that 21,885. 0.21 cents, I should say. I'm not a chart analyst. I do like to look at them occasionally, other than a few college classes. I really don't have much need for chart analysis, and I don't put a lot of stock in crypto chart analysis. One, we're trying to use very traditional methods on an asset class that doesn't always work doesn't always behave in a traditional manner. So when you see somebody, that's great at chart analysis and they give you a prediction, um, you got to take it for what it is. Nobody can predict the future, and what they're showing you is just one possibility out of innumerable possibilities. Looking at it, you can see the downward trend. I don't know how long this is a 5 day chart. Okay, so um, it's definitely not what we want to see. We'd like to see some upward motion. And today, if we could go in further and further, we see a lot more peaks and valleys type of action happening. So it appears like we're stuck in. There's a few things that we're waiting for to see if it's going to have or what impact it will have on price. One is the SEC ruling on whether the XRP token can be considered a security. I personally don't think it can be, but um, the SEC doesn't always do what I think it will. For it to be a security, I don't understand how they would arrive at that conclusion, and I can get more into that probably on a later video if you'd care to hear it, or why I don't think it's a security. Um, but I don't think they're going to go that way. And it looks like a few other countries have already made the determination that XRP is not a security, so that bodes well. We're gonna kind of want to chameleon off what the rest of the world is thinking. Um, let's see, what else do we have? Could we say about price today? It's not where we want it. We don't have enough to Lambo. Uh, the thing that's there's a few things that are always going to affect XRP price, in my opinion. One is supply. We have a ton of supply, and I don't care whose video you're watching or who's talking about XRP. There's a huge, huge supply of it, and so it's very difficult to move the needle. It can happen. The XRP can be bought up off the exchange, as you saw a few years ago. Um, you know, FOMO alone basically pushed this coin to almost $4, I believe, somewhere up 375, 380, somewhere up in there. Um, so it can happen. Uh, Another thing is more onboarding of Ripple's partnerships with banks using the ODL um, on-demand liquidity solution to transfer funds and settle payments across borders. In looking at that, there is I think it's Alex Cobb has a video where you can go and see a live stream of ODL transactions, and uh, there's usually people in the chat room, and it's a good place, but I don't know how valuable it is as a tool to use to predict price. It's just simply a very informative. These are the transactions that have occurred in the past 24 hours. But if you want to check it out, you can find it. Just look under Alex Cobb on YouTube. Uh, we had some news to talk about today. Let's see. This is from today. It looks like despite rising Ripple transaction volume, analyst says XRP is still incredibly weak. Uh, and one thing I didn't really go over in price is that we're married to Bitcoin. We're coupled to the price of Bitcoin, and I know a lot of you watching this probably already know this or have noticed it. So chart analysis that makes chart analysis a little less useful in my opinion. You can do a chart analysis of Bitcoin and probably come to the same conclusions you're coming to about XRP because they are so often, uh, you know, uh, tied together, showing similarities. When XRP chart analysis is going to get very interesting is if for some reason XRP should decouple from Bitcoin. That means, Bitcoin takes a huge dive while XRP is on a huge pump. If that would happen and hold, eh, it would be very interesting to start seeing the chart analysis around that time, and hopefully it happens because it'll definitely give us all something interesting to talk about. That's for sure. Um, Let's go in here. The digital token closely associated fintech company Ripple has had a rough couple of years, plummeting from the 2018. XRP remains stuck in the lower 30% region, and the recent downturn in the crypto market led XRP to plummet to fresh lows of just under $20. Or, yeah, 20 cents. Fresh 2019 lows. Okay, I didn't see that at first, and I was going to say, XRP has actually been a lot lower than 20 cents at some points in history. In spite of the bearishness, it is important to note that Ripple's transaction volume has been on the rise as of late, but this may not be enough to help propel XRP's price higher in the near term. Um, as the transactions speed up, XRP does have a burn rate built into it, meaning every time there's an XRP transaction, a little tiny fragment gets burned, but it's not enough, in my opinion, and probably will never be enough to to be an actual deflationary limit on the supply of XRP. in a meaningful way. It's such a tiny fragment that it could be 100 years before an appreciable amount of XRP is burned that it actually would infect or affect price. Transaction volume gained some steam as XRP inches lower. At the time of writing, XRP is trading down nearly 2% at its current price of 0.228. It's actually lower than that, as we saw. We got 0.219, so right around that 0.22 cent marks. Um, yeah, and I was going to talk about this too. XRP has been finding strong buying pressure within the lower 0.21 cent region, signaling that this is a level of support for the cryptocurrency, and I would agree with that. It's been holding in there pretty good. It may have dipped down in the 0.20 range. I have not looked at that. I'm more of a dollar cost averager when it comes to investing in XRP. So, you get some money, you take a small amount, you buy some XRP, and you just hold on to it. Otherwise, you're going to start making emotional decisions. And a lot of the discussion I see around XRP is people that want, that do seem to want to get rich overnight. Uh, but on the other hand, depending on when you bought in, a lot of people have lost money on XRP. I couldn't, I can't ignore that fact, and I won't just for the sake of making a bullish video. There are a lot of people that they buy at the top of the peaks. Because they see the price declining maybe, and they think, oh, I'm going to get in now because surely it's not going to drop under 40 or zero point 0.4 dollars. But it has. And so right now, in my opinion, we're in a buying opportunity. We're in a good region to buy our XRP. Personally, I don't spend more than I can afford to lose, and I'm ready to ride it down to zero if I have to. I'm okay with that. I've made my peace with that. Um, but I do think once we get these things done, the SEC decision, ODL is still really on-demand liquidity solution from Ripple is still in its infancy. So it's going to be interesting to see how that might affect supply. If you get institutional investors buying off the exchanges because OTC sales have been suspended, over-the-counter sales, meaning Ripple is not selling their private stock to anybody anymore. If you're an institution, you've got to go to the exchange and you've got to buy XRP. So if we do end up in a situation where we get a favorable ruling and institutional buyers are competing with each other on the exchanges, I do think it's very possible that we could see some positive price gain. But those are a lot of ifs, and so and you know you get that with any investing. I don't care what it is, if it's XRP or something else. Um, so, uh, yeah, I was saying there are a lot of people that seem to want to, they want to spend $100 on XRP and then they should be a millionaire in a month, or they should be able to retire. Um, and I think Bitcoin, they see a lot of the Bitcoin stories of people buying in early and they think, oh, that should be me. I should have done that. I'm going to do that now with this one. Um, these same people are generally working jobs and they're willing to put 10% of their income into a 401k uh, or more. And for a 6% annual return, that's a very long haul. That traditional sort of retirement method, uh, it really takes a lot into it takes a lot of assumptions that you're going to one be able to work for those 30, 40, sometimes 50 years, and that you're not going to have any sort of financial catastrophes, and you're going to be able to put your maximum amount of money into your 401k if you're offered one, and your employer is going to match it. So they're willing to do that over 30 or 40 years, but they're they're upset over this sort of $300 or $500 that they've put into XRP, and it hasn't made them a millionaire yet. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But the truth of it is, if there is an XRP rally, a big rally, it's going to beat the return off the pants of any traditional investment that you can find. It, it just is. It's the way we see it go with cryptocurrency. Remember, I believe XRP was at sub 1 cent at one time. So if you bought it sub 1 cent and we're at 0.21, you have probably made a hefty profit. So it's all in when you bought, when you want to sell, and what your goals are. I'm not a certified retirement planner or financial advisor of any type. So don't go out and buy a bunch of XRP because I do. Do it because it's something you want to add to your investment strategy if you have one. And just because, I was talking to a guy before, and this is just a little sort of anecdote. Um, and this is the guy that kind of certifies CPAs. And he started telling me about lottery tickets. And I told him, oh, I don't play the lottery because it's a tax on the stupid, or, it's been called a lot of things like that. And then he started breaking it down and telling me how a $1 at the time or $2 now, how a Powerball ticket or a Mega Millions ticket is a good investment. And the crux of his story is that even though you're most likely going to lose your $2, most Americans can afford to lose $2 pretty easily without affecting your lifestyle or putting you out of your house or apartment. Um, and if you look at it from that perspective, the risk is relatively minimal, but the potential gain is astronomical. And he went on to tell me that the issues, of course, come in when people buy 2 lottery tickets or more lottery tickets because you're not greatly increasing your odds at all. They're still terrible at winning, but but uh, but now you're risking more capital, of course, and probably losing it. So, but the reason I tell that story is because it's just how people look in investing, right? It's some people will see that a lottery ticket is potentially a great investment if they only buy one for $1, for $2, because they can afford to lose it. And some people say, I'm never going to win this lottery. It's a tax on the stupid. And both are probably right. Or both have levels of rightness in their thinking. So um, it's interesting to watch and sort of see what category a lot of the XRP folks are in. Um, myself, I'm in that same boat of I'm never going to be able to retire off of a traditional investment unless I work for the next 40 years or however long it is. So if I have an extra $15-$20 a week that I can throw in on XRP or some other cryptocurrency, because XRP, like many of us, XRP is not the only one that I like. Then I'll do it, because chances are I was going to blow $15 or $20 on something stupid anyways, and the risk is relatively low. But that's a big long explanation, and got way away from the topic, of course, that this article is talking about. Just put a 20 cent, another strong region. XRP looks incredibly weak as resistance holds strong. Um, Still anticipate XRP to see further losses in the near term. Again, you really, it's hard to predict this stuff. I'm going to agree with that slightly, meaning I think the price is going to stay pretty steady. You may see some peaks and valleys as we've been seeing today. Um, but until we get that SEC decision, and that's one thing I think could be an impact on price. And the second is the Bitcoin halving, which I know probably doesn't happen until May. But remember, as goes Bitcoin, so goes XRP right now. So if the halving should propel the price of Bitcoin, uh, then it would make sense that XRP could definitely see a bump from that. So that'll be something to keep our eyes out for. Um, this next article really speaks to me about utility, and it says Xspring releases new XRP tools, XRP Ledger 1.40 released. Um, Xspring Ripple's developer platform expands with new tools for developers to make it easier to build on the XRP Ledger and the Interledger protocol. And one's a wallet for managing credentials and viewing balances and history, but they are also extending support of their software development kits for Python and Go in addition to the already supported Java, JavaScript, and Swift. And their goal with Xspring SDK is to make it easy for developers to add money to their applications regardless of what platforms they're on or what languages they prefer. And I saw an article yesterday where Ripple is working on a solution for artists to be able to sell their music for XRP. And all these little projects and developments, none of them may take off. You look at Ripple developing, their solution to sell music for XRP. They're probably not going to rival Apple Music or Spotify anytime soon with these. Uh, but as they develop and upgrade the various protocols and build these tools, you're going to start to see a multi-headed beast when it comes to utilities. So, maybe the music thing doesn't take off, but maybe they're able to tokenize, real estate or derivatives or some other thing. Um, and maybe that kind of takes off. Maybe the ODL takes off. So, in a sense, when it comes to liquidity or utility, rather, not all the eggs are in one basket. Not all the eggs are in the ODL basket or the music basket or um, the real estate basket. That's gonna uh, help stabilize the price and support the price. And the more that people can develop in it, the better, in my opinion. It can only be for the good. Um, Let's see. Our goal with X is to make it easier to add money. And what was initially launched as an investment branch of Ripple, Xspring has evolved to become a platform for developers, as BG recently stated in an interview. But there's an opportunity to improve some of the infrastructure and tools, really thinking about the XRP Ledger as a developer platform. So I think Mr. Garlinghouse has the right mindset on that, rather than just we're going to do these cross-border payments and that's going to be all we focus on. That's not necessarily yeah, obviously not a good idea to limit your potential if you don't have to, and they're not in a situation where that's all they have to worry about. Deletable accounts. While developer tools are being developed by Xspring, the ledger itself has also seen a recent update to 1.4, introducing a new amendment with support for deleting accounts. Unlike most blockchains, the ledger uses a base reserve to limit the number of accounts created until now. Once an account was activated, it was undeletable. Even though the feature is developed and included in the update, it is only activated after a vote among trusted validators. Okay, they're getting sort of more into the tech of how the consensus works and how the validators can vote. If support by at least 80% is maintained for 2 weeks, the amendment is activated. The deletable account has a mixed reception by XRP followers, shows in the vote. 6 of 34 validators have actively vetoed the amendment, with still more than 80% in favor of enabling it. And what did they say? They've got to maintain that 80% level before they can activate the feature. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to affect, um, because I don't understand the feature. Does that mean I get to delete my own account? Does that mean um, the validators will vote to delete accounts of, maybe, if you get somebody who's not acting in good faith, or maybe suspicious? I don't know what the purpose is for this, but maybe we'll see more on that. But it's for me, it's more important to see that they're working on the ledger, that they're developing features, and they're still pushing the platform. All that stuff is good news if you're a buyer or a hodler of XRP. So that's pretty much it for the video. That's the few things I wanted to talk about today. I don't want to go ad nauseum for too long. It's my inaugural video, so if there's something you don't like, you can't hear me, you want me to speak more clearly, you want me to spend more time on a certain thing, just let me know in the comments section. You can subscribe, you can like. I'm not really um, looking to monetize, any of this. This is just information that I find interesting that I'll be putting out there from time to time. So, but I think if you do subscribe, you can, uh, or like my channel, you'll at least be notified if I put out a new video, and that that there is the benefit to me and to you of subscribing. So I can't say that anything bad will happen to you if you don't subscribe, but I can say that nothing good will happen to you if you don't subscribe. So, um, let me know. Like the videos. Go check out Alex Cobb's ODL ledger if you want to see. Towards the beginning of the video, I was talking about, it's a live stream of ODL transactions. It's kind of interesting to watch. And what else? That's probably pretty much it. Uh, Thanks for watching, and have a good day.